Good morning, John. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing good. Where are we with you? Where are you now?
Andrew Jackson State Park, and it's a beautiful, beautiful lake out here. The geese, and I mean, you should have seen the crane that were out here this morning when the sun was rising.
Oh, that's what I like to hear. That's great. It's beautiful. I mean, I don't drive as if I can help it anymore. I'm trying to. I had a replaced hip put in,
Wow.
and boy, did I appreciate taking a slow walk and looking at the beautiful trees instead of sitting in a car in traffic.
I'm,
Um,
I'm,
I'm in Beverly Hills now, and I remember, but when these trees were about half the size they are now. I mean, and just the cars and just the traffic is just too much for me now.
I love the idea that you're talking about trees because in South Charlotte, I planted 1,700 trees just to preserve this little waterway, and today these
That
trees.
means so much.
Oh,
That's a blessing. It's grace. And working up in Montana on this film, part of the desire was just to do that, to get. I mean, it was the beginning of the COVID thing, and great people and very good intentions with this desire to bring something to the screen by a man and woman. Larry Martin and his wife Kate Cat are just terrific people, and they both write Western books from periods. I guess Cat's more on the point of view from the side of a woman, and Larry from the heroic individual cowboy getting through life stories in the language for the time, supposedly, and um, getting up there and working with this great actress Blanca Blanco,
mhm.
and um, just the sense of simplicity in the story. It was no big budget, and I enjoyed just this location. I keep talking about walking outside Larry's ranch and looking around at the mountains, and then seeing these mountain goats with the baby mountain goat just going from Little Rock down
That's
to
it.
little step to step to step, clicking down the side of this mountain on the side of his house, and the mountain goats just really free and running around, and uh, beautiful picture.
So, what part of Montana? I grew up in Billings, Montana. So, what part were you in when you were filming it?
Right in the middle, I think it's a river, Missoula,
Missoula,
is
absolutely. I know Missoula very well.
9 mile, and just the beautiful mountains all around it. Rock Creek area, Sapphire Mountains, the big John Long Mountain on one side, and the history of the Native American communities
Yep.
around there. People were conscious, and we had at least one individual from one of the nations in the movie, a young man. It was a lot of young people, or a couple of young people. It was not a cast of thousands. It was just a very small film with a lot of great intent, and it was nice to just bring out that little sense of that period. The native tribes from all the way up. I know the Lakota Nation up
Yes.
north there is going through a lot of stress, but I have a school that I've been in touch with there for years. I'm going to go up and visit that place. And friends of mine from up there, I've been in a few movies in the area. Um, and we have, Lakota, Chippewa Sioux. Crow is the big one in Montana, I
Yes,
guess,
there is.
Blackfeet.
Yep, yep.
But the idea that these people had communities that came together, and right there where we were filming, in the middle of that mountain area, surrounded by, they would cross over from all different parts of the West, and they would rather than the Midwest right there, and those, and in one like open, go through a valley to this one open area in the middle of the place, and just have a big powwow.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody just coming together, and the discussion of that with some of the folk who knew the history there really indicated this really organized kind of democratic system that was every once in a while was practiced with communities that might have taken a woman from one other nation, or somebody ended up, or kid who had problems being taken care of and taken in by somebody. The reason they came together was just to share that family thing again. You know,
Hmm.
somebody from this tribe actually had family in another tribe or something. And the way it was discussed was like that feeling is still there. You know,
Yeah.
you can still feel it in the nature around you, of compassion or community with the human beings. And I think we can learn a lot from that kind of attitude from the Native Americans. Simple appreciation of water.
Well, don't you
You know,
think? Don't you think it's because of it? It is because of the great Creator, which then feeds the soil, which then feeds our eyes. I mean, it's like I always grow from a seed becomes a tree becomes the sheet of paper that I write upon, which creates the message that people can share. And that's what I've learned in studying Native American spirituality is the fact that there is a connection, and it starts with people as well.
right. The spoken word was very important a lot, and there was not much written word. So that grace, that tremendous step into that area, all over in different parts of the world. But sometimes it's like these major inventions go bring us faster to an area of expansion or development, and there's no. I mean, it's not really that we get overdeveloped. We get preoccupied,
Hmm.
maybe more, and we miss a lot. I know I got a nervous kind of. Uh, I talk more than I used to, too much sometimes. But the idea of telling stories and being a part of musicals as a kid and being on Broadway with great shows and having to be able to do just having a natural gift that I could be a part of something
Yeah.
with, to sing. I remember some Italian couple when I was young offered to help me. My mom was a musician and her mom played the piano in church, and someone said, "Why don't we help him train, as a singer?" By the time I was 14, I was singing with their little trio in Americana Hotel, and I went to Broadway. It was just one gift, after another that I got because of the gift I had, but I didn't, you know, making money and becoming successful uh, without really uh, that wasn't the point. I think I just started to find ways to I could possibly open up more to this traveling and working with many shows, not just a few. Some of our greatest stars,
Hmm.
probably only did 5 or 6 movies in their life. Um, Big ones, big powerful films. More than they just didn't talk about the little ones. This is a little one, and
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. Eye for eye,
Well, see, that's
you
what I
know.
love about it is the fact that it is a simple story. I grew, growing up there in Montana, my father was very much into Western books as well as Western shows. And to this day, what he could pick up on HDTV with the Western Channel and stuff like that, Westerns tell a story that we can all relate. Any generation can relate with a Western story.
Right, right. Um, the shock and awe of a lot of films, very entertaining, and really spirited performances by great actors and actresses. So there's entertainment, and then there's stories.
Hmm.
Um, there's nothing wrong with good, great musical and people dancing around. It has the essence of humanity in that all these great gifts and forms of art that we have, whether it's museum or walking through a museum or just going to a native uh, uh, powwow.
Yeah. Yeah.
People singing and dancing. My daughter's working with a great native man who served in our military, and he's from a nation, one of 3 nations that he grew up with, and he plays a flute and dances and has all the costumes and all of the beautiful history of his growing up. And it's such a peaceful kind of experience to hear the story and see the costumes on film with the different times and places of
Yep.
children having to wear pants, go to school away from the tribe, and then the family coming together, still carrying that pride and that nation identity. And when you see the performances of uh, their worship form of spiritual kind of connecting, it really so simple, you know, the chant and the beat of a
Yep.
small
Yep.
one drum, and it's a small story is as powerful as any big event.
Did
Yeah.
you ever get to sit down with any of the medicine men or any of the tribal leaders in the way that, because I've got Native American spiritual tools, and to hear that even the dream catcher, people don't understand that dream catcher was actually how women spoke to other women inside the nations. It was the
Well,
way
they
that they.
spoke to the chief. The chief had that conference with women.
Yes.
They were the guiding force.
Yep.
And a lot of men may not have liked it, but that's the way it was. And you see the passion come through after events and things that men were supported for doing, hunting or warring. Sometimes, like this community gathering up there in some of these areas, it's because the women had perhaps children that were taken by another
That's it.
nation.
Hmm.
Different ways things happen with tragedy and whatever life, nature might do or violence might bring. And the tribes took in and married other people and came together for the one point of communicating with the whole family. And it was because of the nature of women, let's just say, for extending the nurturing
Hmm.
of community. And um, you know we got to watch out sometimes. It can get a little rough with women as well as anybody, but
Hmm.
the idea that this was a real loving process was pointed out with the use of the territory I was working in. People, some of the stories I heard that still kind of exist in some ways, with people coming together from different nations. It was beautiful. I remember watching the goats clip down Larry Martin's ranch, and they just I hear this little rocks falling, and the little goat, mountain goat, skipping just like no problem, just from rock to rock to rock to rock down the mountain, and turns and looks at me, and then jumps over a little fence. Uh, the older goats kind of like looking at the kid and just taking their time walking down. I was just well, the beauty of our country has got to be more respected and shared. And I bring up the Native American communities because I think we need that
Yep.
sense of just simple consciousness of sharing and working together.
When you bring history forward like you have in Eye for Eye, what to me it's and first of all, I got to thank you for working with the locals and putting local people in this, because to me that's like going to the South and you put Northerners in playing a Southern role. You can't do that. You've got to use the actual atmosphere that's given to you as a director and as actors. But I just love the idea that everything comes together as one in this. There's harmony in this movie, and the fact that you're doing truth, trust, and faith. There's a message in this movie.
It's yeah, and there's a need for that simple stuff sometimes, um, which can be powerful. You mentioned the South. How many people know that there was a congregation of small farm owners and workers or enslaved people, and they were uh, forming a union when the possible threat was becoming of war was becoming more evident. Um, they but the larger plantation owners wanted to protect the tremendous developments they'd had in the South with shipping and goods. I remember I went to Turkey. I was there and in Istanbul, and the first before we had established a nation, the first um, diplomatic uh, building was set up by the South in Istanbul. The building was older than our country by maybe 1,000 years. It's the that I remember going back there and being introduced to the diplomat who was working in Turkey at the time, and I had to go through Marine Corps guards and a whole protection because just after I visited, the English um, embassy down the street was bombed, um, And in film, I've worked in areas of the world where I've seen the young people and their desire with a loud voice to express their feelings about
Hmm.
their idea of democratic principles and where they're not happening. And uh, you know, God bless us all. We're trying.
Yep. Yep.
I think this idea of compassion and uh, just extending ourselves. I remember my dad's big basketball hand when I was a kid,
Hmm.
going out to other vets as a returning after Second World War. As a little boy, just was the image of, yeah, I don't know what they're talking about, but actually it was just the support system, and nobody was getting work. The
I
government stepped in with the GI Bill and other great
Yep.
stuff. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yep. I just looked up the Native American spiritual meaning of what the mountain goat is. Trusting your senses and intuition over your rational and logical mind. Stop butting your head against the wall trying to get through to people you can't access.
Hello. Yeah. That was well read.
There's a reason why you kept seeing those goats up on that mountain, because I love it when they turn around, look at you, and basically just say, "Hey, human, what's up? What do you want to know?"
Yeah. How do you survive with those two legs? Only two.
So true, so true. John, congratulations on this movie. I love the fact that people can easily get to it through the digital formats and all that kind of stuff. And I hope that you learn to continue to give us more stories like this, because we're here. We want the stories. We will grow with the stories.
And I just got to throw out this other film, The Last Full Measure, with the participation of many vets who came back from the Middle East for a Vietnam story. But it was more than that. It was a recognition for the years that go by afterwards, with many areas of recovery and change. And I really loved that film.
Oh man, I could talk to you all day. Please come back to this show anytime in the future. The door is always going to be open for you.
You're the man. I appreciate it.